Gibson with the National Peace Action Campaign, which is the largest grassroots peace network in the United States with chapters and affiliates in states across the nation. For over 60 years, Peace Action has been mobilizing communities and individuals so that our neighborhoods, our nation, and our world can live free of war and violence. Our speaker today began working for peace all the way back in 1984 with the Committee for a Sane Nuclear Policy, and he is currently the staff coordinator for Peace, Justice, Sustainability Now in Pennsylvania and Florida. He also serves as a development associate organizer with National Peace Action. He is here today to talk about the coordinated actions taking place in Pennsylvania and throughout the country in support of the Congressional Joint Resolution of Disapproval to stop arming Israel's genocidal war on Gaza. Today's vigil is one of those actions. Our speaker will educate us about the details of the legislation, the campaign, and he will explain how Philly area peacemakers can join the struggle. Our speaker wants you to know that of all the important things he may have done in his life, being the father of his daughter is far and away his most important achievement. Please give a warm welcome to David Gibson. David.
So, wow, thanks for being here. Perfect. I'm really sorry that we are here under these circumstances, but I'm so glad to see you all. And just in case you didn't know, Netanyahu is watching us right now. If you look up on that window right there he is. So, Terry mentioned that Peace, Justice, Sustainability Now is active in Florida. I was down there for 5 years starting in 2014, and so I was there during the first Trump era, and as disappointed as I am with the election results, we now have Trump 2.0. We've got a lot of work cut out for us, but I spent a lot of time outside Mar-a-Lago, as you might imagine, making a lot of noise and making a lot of good trouble. And so I remember this chant that we used to use, and I want to share it with you all. So join with me. When I say Trump, you say racist. Trump.
Racist.
Trump.
Racist.
Trump.
Racist.
When I say Trump, you say sexist. Trump.
Sexist.
Trump.
Sexist.
Trump.
Sexist.
When I say Trump, you say fascist. Trump.
Fascist.
Trump.
Fascist.
Trump.
Fascist.
Right on. Thank you. So, everybody knows that the U.S. is empowering Israel in its genocide in Gaza by giving it the weapons it needs to run the war. There is a precedent in stopping these weapons and using that as leverage to get Israel to get in line and behave itself. None other than Ronald Reagan and George Bush both have used threats in the past to withhold weapons to Israel to get them to stop excesses. And in Ronald Reagan's case, it was to get him out of Beirut. And in George Bush's case, it was to actually stop expansion of settlements in the West Bank for a time. It's really sad that Biden isn't doing as well as Reagan and Bush. So we can do better. And the joint resolutions of disapproval, which I'm going to read to you about in a minute here, are congressional vehicles by which we can force the president's hand to hold up those weapons and get Israel to negotiate in good faith. So this is from a fact sheet we got from Senator Sanders' office, and this is how it works. Congress regulates the sale and export of defense articles to foreign countries through Foreign Assistance Act, through the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961 and the Arms Export Control Act. Okay, so Congress can step in and tell the president we're disapproving of the sale. Among other criteria, arms transfers must be consistent with U.S. foreign policy interests, advance internationally recognized human rights, and to avoid the identification of the United States with any human rights violations. So this is the law. These provisions apply to both government-to-government sales and direct commercial military sales from private companies. So the Arms Export Control Act requires the President to formally notify Congress 30 calendar days before concluding a sale or issuing an export license. And with NATO countries and countries that are major allies like Israel, they have 15 days to tell Congress. Then Congress can control that and vote against it if they choose through a joint resolution of disapproval. A transfer may not proceed if both houses of Congress pass a JRD, does not require that a companion measure be introduced in both chambers. Congress may block or modify an arms sale at any time up to the point of delivery of the items involved. So, the Arms Export Control Act further stipulates that Senate consideration of any JRD shall be in accordance with the provisions of Section 601B of the International Security Assistance and Arms Export Control Act of 1976. That's a mouthful. Essentially, JRDs are privileged, which means that the Senate Foreign Relations Committee must report on the JRD within 10 days or 5 days for NATO countries or countries like Israel. So they have 5 days in committee, and after that, it is in order for the sponsoring senator to move to discharge from the committee for further consideration after an hour of debate and bring the measure to a vote. In plain English, what it means is in the Senate, they don't have to worry about the committee killing it. They can just call for a vote, no amendments, an hour of debate, straight up and down vote. That's it. You can't do that in the House. In the House, they can bottle it up in committee. But because you don't need a version in both houses, they can pass it in the Senate, goes to the House has to vote on it, and then the Senate, or the President has to sign it or can veto it. We don't expect the current 6 JRDs that have been presented by Senator Sanders and others to actually pass. It's unlikely that that process will succeed for us. But it's historic because I mentioned the other precedents on using weapons to control Israel's behavior. Those were all administrative precedents. This is the first time Congress has ever voted on sending weapons to Israel, at least to my knowledge. So this is historic, and just that vote alone makes a difference, and I'll tell you why. The war in Yemen, we were arming the Saudis and providing cover for their jet flights, and they were bombing indiscriminately, killing many Yemeni people besides Houthi rebels. We put forward, what were they called? I forget what they were called. There were votes against weapons sales. There was a name that it's escaping right now. And we got actually this vote through the Congress under Trump, and Trump vetoed it, but it would have stopped weapons to Saudi Arabia. After that, we kept reintroducing this and reintroducing this. We never got a vote, but the Saudis saw that their weapons were at risk, and so they negotiated a peace deal. Now we're bombing the Houthis, but we're not doing the kind of indiscriminate bombing the Saudis were. So this will work. If we can just get the vote, it sends a message to Israel that we're not going to put up with this anymore, and their weapons are at risk, and it gives us leverage. So what can we do? Breaks the silence, as they say. So this is important, whether we win or not. This is an important vote. Right now, there are, let me get out. I'll just say it's over 30 states that have signed statewide letters to both of their senators calling on them to vote in favor of these JRDs, these 6 weapon systems that are being voted on. Over 30 states. Here in Pennsylvania, we developed a letter. We sent it to both senators. We had over 72 people and over 44 organizations across the state sign this letter. And we've asked them for a personal meeting before the vote. So the vote could be Wednesday, it could be Tuesday or Wednesday, as early as Tuesday or Wednesday. Could be pushed back, we don't know, but it could be as early as this coming Tuesday. So what we need to do, what you all need to do, is help us out by calling your senators and telling them to vote for all 6 JRDs. To be honest, our best shot is 2 of the JRDs, which are weapons that have been directly linked to human rights violations in Gaza. The other JRDs you know, they're, for other weapon systems, they don't have as much of a chance to pass, to be honest, as these other two. But in your letters or phone calls to them, actually don't worry about letters, phone, call them right away. You want them to support all 6. We're going to hand out a copy of the letter. It's a fact sheet. Thank you. And actually, I've got some people here who are going to help out. So we want you to call, and we want you to keep calling, because when we meet with them, it makes a big difference if they've been hearing from the district. It makes a huge difference. I want to tell you a quick story about Senator Casey. We met with him last year, actually right after the invasion of Ukraine, and talked about, you know, trying to get peace and all that there. And after the meeting, we had like 5 or 6 people from different organizations, and they said to us, you know, we don't hear from our constituents about these things, so we're really glad that you showed up. So the next time we met with them, we had 20 organizations represented. They don't hear about these issues enough. It's up to us to make sure they don't stop hearing about it. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Make the calls. We're going to be trying to meet with them. Hopefully we'll meet in person with Casey. We'll let you know how it goes. And let us know how your calls go. There's an email that you can send it to. Thanks a lot. And yeah.
Here's a chant for us. No arms for genocide. No arms for genocide. No arms for genocide. No arms for genocide. Carry on.
Hey, let's hear it for David Gibson in Peace Action.
Before we end